us on the podcast today, and today we're gonna talk about your company SMP Robotics. Uh, we know that you guys are, doing something in robotics that's kind of people think about science fiction, but you focus more on the security aspect of that, and you think about autonomous robots patrolling the industrial sites, detecting intruders, analyzing threats, operating 24/7 without any human supervision. I guess my question to you would be, why have you chosen security robots as opposed to any other humanoid robotics that are hype right now?
Okay,
Ruslan,
so
you want to take it? Go ahead, please.
yeah, I'll take the torch and I'll pass it to you because just to be fair and balance as well. So security robotics in general is a global niche with a huge demand from different sources, different um, from small to enterprises, Fortune 5 and Fortune 1 companies. There's a global demand on the security. There's a global demand and expectation on the safety, to feel safety and secure. So it's one of those basic needs of a human to be safe and to feel secure. So this is why basically we have chosen this niche, which is again, it's a global scale, and there are a lot of opportunities in this niche as well.
Okay, that's a fair answer. And what do you think are the core systems that make it work autonomously? Because I know it's you guys say it's an autonomous work. So is there any supervision involved whatsoever from the human side?
So take it.
Well, Sergey, there's several things that happen on the front end with we call human in the loop. So for the installation and mission mapping, Sergey, we design a human to come out there, maybe one or two actually. There's a project manager engineer, but we really guide the program at the beginning with humans fully involved. Then we slowly train the robot fully autonomously with NVIDIA to start understanding its environment. Once we have maybe 2 days of we call a baseline of performance, Sergey, we're comfortable that the robot can run without humans there. We come back and visit maybe in 5 days to check in, but the human in the loop is critical in the first 3 days or 4 days of installation.
Okay, that's a great answer. And what do you guys think? Like, I know your robot's been deployed to the industrial side, so it's very complex. And how does the robot understand its environment at that specific location? Like, what does it actually see in process?
Yeah, so we actually do initial site assessment in topography, the different aspects of what site assessment is, but basically comes to understanding and visualizing topography, and also mapping that topography and the on-site deployment to a robot. And then when we actually do deploy a robot, and what Tal said in the previous answer, and it does this initial discovery, sort of navigating through the perimeter, it captures the information, which is navigational data, processes within and learns. And once this initial deployment is done, then the robot becomes 100% autonomous and starts driving on its own.
And
Okay.
Sergey, it's important for me to add on there that we are under the belief, and we're up to changing our beliefs, but we believe for security, surveillance, and outdoor, we're using eyes, computer vision, not LiDAR, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, of course. And I guess touching based on that question, if you guys have massive amounts of data, how much of the decision making happens on the device versus, for example, in the cloud?
Yeah, most of the decision making is happening on the device. So it's basically instant processing and instant respond that happens on a device itself.
Okay. And in the case, because it's still a security robot, right? So it's there to detect threats and unusual, I guess, activities. When something like that happens, something unexpected occurs, what does the how does the robot react, and what happens next?
There's several pathways for we call, Sergey, situational awareness. It can either interact on the edge, and what that means in an outdoor environment, the robot is two-way communications, acoustic and eyes and ears, Sergey. So it will be able to interact with you pre-recorded. For instance, you're a threat, you're not supposed to be here, or you're in a parking lot and your car was broken into, or you're struggling to get into your car, you think someone's following you. The robot can interact and immediately draw police or have designated messages. IoT allows the actual robot to interact with triggers, we call them, or alarms automatically. So when it goes through a certain area, it'll pass through there and check and move and check and then check around the entire perimeter. It's interactive in the capability that it can either have pre recorded messages, one, or it can actually interact fully live. Makes
Yeah.
sense?
So
Okay.
I just want to add to it. So it comes down to basically pattern recognition and responding to that pattern recognition behavior. It could be out of pattern recognition, so it's something that is not recognized as built-in pattern, and it will actually respond in the form of notification or any other forms of connection with the command center. If it's integrated, let's say, with the OnWave command center, where you see a person with a bunch of different screens seeing different angles of a perimeter on site.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. You have like a whole command center, I understand, and you have a certain supervision from the human perspective.
Right.
I guess if we switch gears a little bit, what is the kind of like at high level, how do you typically the deployment process looks like for your business customers?
Yeah, so great question. This is basically what we are going through at this moment. So it's very
It's very
uh,
timely. Yes.
it's a perfect timing, definitely. So obviously we want to learn about the on-site, and every site is different, and there's like business needs are different, and the business needs could be additional patterns that we have to recognize, like license plate recognition or acoustic or a gunshot recognition as well. So we have to adjust based on the business needs. Number one. Number two, we usually visit the site. We observe the perimeter, we map where actually physically a robot would navigate, and that would be a partial site assessment. And since the robot navigates through GPS navigation, number one, and there's another layer of navigation, which is the VMS, video management system, like Genetec, for example. So we map this navigation path as number one thing, which is the site assessment. Then we do pre-deployment, making sure that the robot is on site in run probably like 2 days, and then the deployment happens and the robot would go into autonomous mode. Tal,
No,
contribute.
it's the right path in the strategy here. What really happens, Sergey, is that we have a baseline of performance, which means the robot with a human is kind of guided, almost like you're walking a dog or a pet around a park, and you're just watching it at the beginning. Diagnostics, understanding the wheels, um, literally understanding as your pet, it's comfortable. And we can see that visually. After that, it's let into the wild, Sergey. It's on its own.
Yeah, let
Okay.
me add something to it. I think it's crucial to point
Mhm.
out. So most of the sites require more than one robot. Just to cover completely in this situational awareness, definitely at least two robots need to be on the site. So when we deploy, let's call it a master robot,
Yes.
and when it learns and captures all of the navigation paths and details of actual site, when we deploy a second one, or a third, a fourth, a fifth, that knowledge will be transferred on its own through the whole crowd. So
Mhm.
the robots actually, they have the swarm intelligence, so the information would be shared instantly.
So, Sergey, I'm not going to get into the politics of robotics yet. We can have another phone call about it. But what we're discussing is collective robotic thinking, and we take this very seriously. There is a master first century that will go first, and the other robots will follow the master and learn and download. Ruslan's absolutely correct.
Okay. Sounds like a Skynet kind of deal. Let's hope it's not the case. They're here to protect us, not the other way around.
Opposite.
Yeah.
So I guess, Avi, guys, great answer. Pretty much you followed up on other questions I was going to ask. But I guess the follow-up question would be, how do customers, especially those big industrial complexes, justify deploying, let's say, a robot security as opposed to an actual human security guard? What are they actually replacing or improving?
I can answer that, Sergey, and Ruslan can follow up. There's two things on the front lines of this revolution in technology and guarding. Number one, many companies have said it's too much risk for a human to be at 2 in the morning in a campus facility. It's just absurd. They've been trying to reduce risk all the time for years, and the robot gives them that. The secondary factor is commercial, financial. We are literally one fourth the cost of a human. Correct, Ruslan?
Yes. So speaking about just the ROI, it's 4x, at least 4x cost effective deploying a robot, and probably multi-x quality-wise as well, because you have perfect 24/7 performance without any uh, effect on if it's night, if it's rain, if it's weather conditions or anything. The robot performs evenly throughout the day. Number one. Number two, there's less liability on the business as well, deploying a machine instead of a human, which is in many cases, from my experience, companies don't think right away, but it's actually a beneficial and cost-effective method of deploying a robot instead of a human, especially in the environment where this environment it is not 100% safe for a human.
Mhm. Okay. That's make perfect sense. And I guess since you touched based on the ROI, is this more of a hardware sale or like recurring service model, like robot as a service, so to speak?
Yeah, great question. We are running this robot as a service model, which is basically a subscription-based model. It's a perfectly understandable to any enterprise and through enterprise to small businesses. Number one. Number two, the pricing actually is shortening the deployment as well, because it's just a procurement, more, I would say, more deployable for a company to get a robot in a robot as a service model as well. So yeah, Tal, you want to add
Okay.
anything?
No, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, great answer. I mean, a lot of companies right now are doing, instead of SaaS, they're doing this robot as a service. I guess it's RaaS. No.
Yeah.
Uh, so, and how scalable is this model across, I guess, different industries? And what are your top industries right now you're tackling?
Perfect. So let me start, and I'll pass the torch to Tal. There are a lot of use cases that we basically come in as a perfect solution, as on its own, and also as an integratable unit with a multi-system solution, because we are fully integrated with other systems as well, like drone, like sensors. So we become basically irreplaceable part of this multi-system solution. That's number one. Number two, as far as the use cases, let me name a few critical ones. Oil and energy. This is like a global use case, vertical on its own. Critical infrastructure, B2B and B2G as well. Airports, industrial facilities, data centers that have been built all over the place in US and other regions of the planet. So I mentioned oil and energy, critical infrastructure, data centers. Anything else that you want to add to it, to the list?
Sergey, I'm getting a lot of energy and momentum around the verticals of base protection, ports, secure communication centers, and I would say, Sergey, a very powerful one would be data centers that are building. During construction, there's a lot of theft, and we're learning that this is a very good target for us.
Solar plants. We're working, for example, Silicon Valley, one of the main headquarters of Fortune 50.
Yes.
So parking lots, airports, airfields, just to name a few. So that's just a wide list of use cases that we will become absolutely irreplaceable.
Well, then let me ask you a follow-up question. How soon you think the SMP robots will replace the TSA agents?
Yeah, like yesterday.
We'll, we'll
In
definitely need that.
in some of the airports, yes, yeah.
Okay, that's
Okay,
good.
actually a sincere and fair question to tell you that the robot has been positioned. I've seen it do this to greet people and inspect them. It can use thermal cameras to look if you have heat on you. And during COVID, we were doing some stuff with understanding if you have a fever or headache. Um, it's definitely in the future capable of doing this.
Of course. Well, I'm sure it's going to happen sooner than we know it. So I guess if you guys, if you can share it or not, what is the like one real world story about the robot that actually prevented an incident or like added value that you know of?
Boy, I have a good one out of Germany. I have a great one. One of our clients in Germany, you won't believe this, Sergey, but in graveyards and
Oh, wow.
cemeteries.
Okay.
So night shift human guard can't pick up with a human eye a person who's really trying to sneak through a certain area. And there's other examples around the world, but it's interesting that the human eye can see so much. The robot can hear and detect with vision at range, at distance, and detect things that a human can't, saving robbery, if that makes sense.
Okay. That's a very interesting example. I was not expecting that one, to be honest with you. And I guess my question would be, I know you guys working across different industries and in US and probably abroad. In your experience, how do clients react the first time they see, robots actually replacing human guards, specifically other human guards? Because we know there's a big pushback right now between, like, oh, they're taking our jobs, the humanoid robots are taking all these blue collar jobs. What's the reaction like?
Ruslan, do you want to handle the beginning?
I'll take this one. Yeah. So yeah, there's actually evolution happening. Especially like for the last probably like 2 years, and the robots that just a few years ago we would actually explain what it's going to do, how a business can benefit, and the actual, I wouldn't say replacement, but augmentation of a security guard, where a security guard actually becomes advanced human in the loop, what Tal said, because in many cases you still need a human, but the human becomes this uh, the skill set is definitely higher. There's this understanding and experience of communicating and managing and overall working together by uh, side by a robot as well. So we do not completely replace, we augment with a higher, better, and more reliable technology. That's
Okay.
basically the message is.
Sergey, the word we use, it's military, it's also civilian now in the domain of force multiplier. It basically gives the human a force that is augmented. What Ruslan's talking about is the ability to replicate yourself and have eyes on something remotely and control the eyes and the body.
Okay. I mean, that's a perfect answer. I guess in your guys' case with SMP Robotics, why have you chosen, because right now it's a big, hype and chase of humanoids, right? And why are you staying focused on this like form factor specifically in security robots, like security and detection, I would say.
Yeah, so I'll start answering and then I'll pick up as well. So it's not per se just the security that we're focusing on. It's more than just secure the perimeter. I actually, or we have a vision of deploying a robot that would become this a part of the multi-system solution, not just for security, for data capturing, for integration with other systems, preventive awareness, uh, capturing data, funneling data, data analytics, and that would become more than just a security guard or security robot. It would be a hardware that collects and analyzes data as well. Besides being this a robotic solution on the ground, if it makes sense. Yeah.
Oh yeah, perfectly. I mean, data controls the world nowadays. Like data is the new gold, as they say, right? And I guess
Yep.
could this evolve into like a broader physical AI network beyond security since you're collecting so much data?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for the question. So picture this that there's this cruise ship with 5,000 tourists arriving in Miami, and the robot can communicate through LLM, doesn't matter what language, can understand, can answer, can do a tour guide kind of a purpose. So it's not just,
Concierge service liaison to anyone, any language.
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean,
So
that's amazing. So I think my follow-up question would be like, what are the other markets you excited about expanding into besides security? Sounds like after you're gonna, collect all the data, analyze it, and have like a more robust system in place.
Well, Sergey, we're pretty good, and we don't really market it at inspection of critical facilities. So,
Mhm.
being all terrain and up and down slope, 30-degree angle in heavy snow or heavy sand, the system is designed to sit and loiter and stop and panoramically look at a oil and gas or nuclear plant and say, is
Okay.
everything okay? And then move to another position, 20 yards or a mile, 20 yards or a mile, and do the same scan in 360. So this gives what Ruslan's saying is so true, situational awareness at different navigational points around the facility?
I'll add to it. So we actually have right now we're communicating with the potential client out of Japan, and they are in the contract with the government of deploying this multi-systems safety security solution for a nuclear power plant.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
That would be another a vertical to explore as well, due to safety and some other conditions that you definitely want to deploy a robot instead of a human.
And also, Sergey, where Ruslan's talking about nuclear security, we're also and successfully deployed for water treatment, water storage, which we know in the future is going to be extremely critical. We do very well in large facilities protecting resources.
okay. I mean, those you mentioned all the top industries that we all need to focus as a nation for the next, foreseeable decade, I guess. That's definitely true. And if we switch gears a little bit, I know you're not just early stage, I guess startup, and UK, the SMP Robotics did not start like a typical Silicon Valley startup. And can you kind of walk us through that story? How did you guys were born into that?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. We definitely would need a CEO to answer it, but I'll tell you my part of this story. The company has evolved through a sort of like a friends and family investment, been built by a very small group of people, enthusiasts, engineers, forward thinkers, implementing everything, testing, and deploying day by day. So we got actually, I would say 2018, 2019, right before COVID, to a full production of our 5.2 model, because we tried different angles, different business models as well, doing demo, and decided to go with the full production without building actual demos of robots. So this is how everything started. And company had more presence overseas than in US. And only after late COVID, we actually start focusing on the US market as the main market on a global scale.
I understand. I mean, it's a very interesting story, definitely different from all the other startups coming out of Silicon Valley. I guess you guys are more technical and more like hands-on, actually deploying that into real world, as opposed to, people still do like research and development and keep raising money for the sake of raising money. And then one day they're thinking about actually, doing the revenue side, because a lot of startups forget about that. It's still a business. You still have to run an actual business.
Right. That's right, Sergey. Yep.
Yeah. Listen, where you guys see the company SMP Robotics going in like next 5 to 10 years? What are the biggest challenges and obstacles you see overcoming?
I can start at Ruslan with the excitement that I've been doing this for 5 years with SMP, and I see the future in what Ruslan really calls ecosystem or a multi-domain, which means the robot, like an air traffic control tower, is going to be able to go to air, drone, go to ground, and police and security officials, and be a coordinated symphony and a resource that is mobile and sharing between robot to robot in an integrated system. It should be the commander on the battle space. That's a military term, but in commercial, like the campuses we're protecting, Sergey, they take security just as seriously as the military.
Yeah. So I'll add to it. I'll mention the military term and also mention symphony. So I see a robot to be actually a conductor in a symphony.
Yes.
It connects, it organizes, it controls, and it communicates. It communicates. It's basically this layer that communicates with humans in the loop through technologies, through integration with other systems, and it's 100% autonomous. And in the future, 5 years from now, it has its own decision-making, AI, intellect, whatever we call it, that would instantly decide on more important decisions and works as a force multiplier for any business of any size.
Okay. And well, great question, guys. I mean, and what do you think in terms of autonomous robotics, right? Since we mentioned that, what needs to happen technologically, with the robots like yours to operate fully autonomously in those conditions that you mentioned?
Okay, so there are some things that need to happen, as I definitely see hardware being absolutely optimized to the point of a robot becomes this sort of like a Lego where everything is AI and data. Everything else is replaceable instantly, almost, as far as the technology. And it will be fully integratable into a client's network, and it will be fully integratable with other solutions as well. Tal, jump in. What's your vision?
I guess, Sergey, if you can rephrase the question a little more specifically, because I can give a better answer, maybe pinpoint what you're
Sure.
looking for.
I guess it's very simple. What needs to happen technologically for the robots like yours to be operated fully autonomously, like 100% autonomously in the next few years or so?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that they're fully autonomous right now,
Okay.
but the gloves are off, and it's up to our clients to have the level of authority. What Ruslan's talking about, HIL, human in the loop,
Mhm.
reducing that risk of a human making decisions. The robot is safer, Sergey, when it's on full autonomous mode. When the human controls a robot, there's we have problems. That's where most accident and crashes happen. It's with a human controlling it.
Of course, I understand. I mean, great answer. And I guess, guys, my last question for you would be, if you had to place a bet with, you being forward thinkers and you being in this industry for quite some time, what percentage of security jobs will get automated in the next decade?
Great question. Ruslan can take that maybe to start with, but
Yes. There's actually, as of what right now we're having this conversation, there's not enough security guards as we speak. So, basically, we will not even have to replace anyone. We have to actually fill in the existing gap as is, number one.
yes,
So,
yes,
and as globally, US, Europe, Middle East, APAC, Asia, Australia, there are more and more demand on different scales and different niches that need this solution. So coming back to your question, probably we don't have to replace any security guards, but with the RI model, we actually come in and improve what security guards offer to a business or as a business unit. So
well, I couldn't say it better, Ruslan. The only thing I add in there is that it's the connectivity and symphony of systems, which a human guard, a human, Sergey, cannot literally do what a robot can do. It can see through the woods at distance, unlike a guard with binoculars. It can also report back in real time where it is on a map, and then have someone take a deeper look, say robot A and B counter the threat at the north together. What Ruslan is talking about is team-based operations, group operations, which we're very proud of. We think we're the only ones in this industry that have group. We don't call it really swarm. It's more group operations that allow us to take a look at this angle and have a better situational awareness posture, Sergey, than any camera that's fixed at an installation.
Okay. Great answers, guys. I mean, when you say swarm, I always thinking back to the Black Mirror TV show, you know.
As
It
well.
gives us
Yeah.
this different vibes. But we can tell our viewers, guys, don't worry. Like the SMP Robotics is here to keep us safer and makes our lives better. You know, that's what people should not worry about. You know, humanoid robots or any other robots replacing your jobs. They're here to enhance your jobs. You know, and make it much
100%.
definitely. Listen, guys, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation, Ruslan Tal. I wish we had more time. Maybe next time you'll tell me about the specific robots that you have and how you're deploying them. And
Yes.
best of luck with SMP Robotics. I think it's a great company. I love what you do. I'll definitely keep a close eye on you guys.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Sergey. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.